Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first order of business I'd like to address is came to our attention that under Article 5, Section 503, that we are supposed to have adopted rules of conduct for our meetings and to post those. We have not done that to date, so I would like to move that we adopt Rosenberg's Rules of Order. It's basically Robert's Rules of Order, except a light version of it, made or tailored for smaller organizations such as this.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No.
It's pretty cut and dried, more or less a formality. In that case, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye. The only thing I would say is that you have copies of that, so if anybody wants to read them, they're available.
And I put them outside. It's just Robert's Rules, basically, light version. So, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
And that's Robert's Rules?
And it is Rosenberg's Rules. All right, the meeting is recorded, both audio and visual. Have you had a chance to review the minutes?
Yeah, having reviewed the minutes, I make a motion to approve them as presented.
I'll second. Any changes? I didn't see anything besides a little, there was multiple zeros. Yeah, multiple zeros, but just strike that. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Fiscal Report.
Cash on hand in the general fund account, $475,777.15. Cash in the Erie Bank general fund account, $529,756.85, for a total of $1,005,534 even. Isn't that odd? Expenses coming out of the general fund this week. We have both jail and courthouse accounts payable. Accounts payable for the courthouse, $309,768.79. Bills for the jail, $55,023.17. Healthcare bill came in at $62,065.49. Dental, $3,569.80, leaving us a balance of $45,349.90 in the general fund. We haven't taken any more against our tax anticipation note since the last meeting, so we're still at $3,500,000.
Good. Technical questions?
I mean, basically, we're due for another draw on the tax anticipation note.
The treasurer and I talked about this for quite a while, and we're desperately trying to drag our feet on having to do that because we are close to having some tax monies coming in. I also understand there's some money from tax claim that may be coming in too for things that would tide us over. So if we do a draw, we're trying to do $250,000 or $300,000, not another $500,000. Our accounts payable is really high this week, higher than usual. Part of it is we have a $47,000 installment on our liability insurance, which is done 3-4 times a year. And we also have in there $73,456, which is pass-through money. So those aren't typical invoices of ours. It's just money that came in. But unfortunately, it's in the balance and going right out again. But that's why our number looks so high for the payables.
Yeah, once we dip below $500,000, though, I'm concerned enough that I think you should take a couple $100,000 now.
We are too. We do know that we have consistently $200,000 to $300,000 in outstanding checks. A lot of those are old enough; they're not going to be coming through. They will eventually need to be escheated over to the Commonwealth. That just has not been done yet.
When was the last time that happened?
We do the report once a year.
Oh, annually. Okay. It just sounds more sizable than I would have guessed.
It's a bunch of little some jury duty payments that we've been trying like desperately to get cleared up.
Remember those, but that can't add up to 300,000.
No, that's not all of it. I mean, a lot of the outstanding are just current outstanding.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
all old outstanding, but,
All right. I'd entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the fiscal report.
Second. Any other further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. All right. The next order of business is the 9/11 Proclamation. Whereas it has been 16 years since the unimaginable became believable, the Twin Towers fell, United 93 crashed, and the Pentagon was damaged. And whereas Americans united through the emotion of loss, determination, and dedication of those who diligently labored to restore order and honor, and whereas daily in Warren County our dedicated volunteer and paid firefighters, police officers, emergency medical technicians, fire police, and other public servants are on call for whatever emergency arises. Whereas as Warren County remembers those lives lost on September 11, 2001, we honor those men and women who helped keep us safe. The total lives lost is just under 3,000. Now therefore be it resolved that Warren County recognizes Monday, September 11th, 2017 as a day of commemoration and remembrance for all those who perform their duties with great resolve, who honorably serve and at times commit themselves to the ultimate sacrifice, and who have given their lives to provide for our safekeeping, preserve our democracy, and protect our freedom. Adopted the 23rd day of August by the Warren County Commissioners. Any technical questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the proclamation as presented.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda is the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Day, and I would like to turn this over to Commissioner Eggleston to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Commissioner Caffrell. We have a couple of proclamations that are related to human services, and so as the commissioner that sits on the Human Services Board, we felt it was appropriate for me to read them. So, September 9th, 2017 is Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Day. Whereas, on behalf of the citizens of Warren County, Pennsylvania, we are pleased to join Forest Warren Department of Human Services and Beacon Light Behavioral Health Systems Prevention Services in promoting September 9th, 2017 as Fetal Alcohol Awareness Day in Warren County. And the term fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is an umbrella term that describes the range of effects that can occur in a baby whose mother drank alcohol during pregnancy, with fetal alcohol syndrome being the most involved condition along the spectrum. And prenatal alcohol exposure is the leading preventable cause of birth defects and intellectual and developmental disabilities. And the exact number of people who have FASD is unknown, but it is estimated that about 40,000 babies are born with effects of prenatal alcohol exposure annually. And about half of all pregnancies are unplanned, contributing to late entry into prenatal care and presenting a barrier to optimal pregnancy management, particularly during the crucial early weeks of embryonic development. And the good health and well-being of the people of Warren County are enhanced by the support of a national effort to educate about and prevent FASD. And Forest Warren Department of Human Services and Beacon Light Behavioral Health Systems join with all residents of Warren County, Pennsylvania, and the many dedicated volunteers, healthcare professionals, educators, and parent groups by promoting in this promotion. Now, therefore, we, the Warren County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of September 9th, that should be the day of September 9th, 2017, as Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Day in Warren County, Pennsylvania, and pledge to continue to partner with organizations, healthcare professionals, educators, and the public to raise awareness about our unified message. Adopted this 23rd day of August 2017.
I move to approve as read.
I will second it with the one change that it should be the month. It should be day instead of month.
Friendly amendment accepted. Any discussion?
No, I think that this ties into the other proclamation that we're going to read. this is a very serious issue, and it's something that I think that needs to have a greater level of conversation in the community just in general. So I think it's very good to make this proclamation. I think it's as much as we can to share the information related to this. As stated in here, there are so many different intellectual disorders that people can be born with and have absolutely no control over. Prenatal alcohol exposure is the leading preventable cause of disability in the community. So it's something that we, mothers, teen mothers, young people that are getting involved in having children, this is something that really needs to be a focus and really needs to be a conversation piece. So that's why I support it.
Okay. The motion is on acceptance of the proclamation on fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Want to go ahead and read the next one?
So our second proclamation is related to September being National Recovery Month, which ties into the previous proclamation. This is a proclamation that I don't believe we've done before. We didn't do last year. I initiated the proclamation partially because I was asked to speak down in Harrisburg related to National Recovery Month, and they're doing a big kickoff, so I thought it was appropriate for the county to also join with the Department of Drug and Alcohol and I can't remember what the tech, is that the right term for it? I always call it that, and then I think, am I getting the right acronym? But then it would be important for us to support it. So we put together this proclamation rather quickly. So proclamation, September is National Recovery Month. Whereas every day millions of Americans prove that recovery from alcohol and substance use disorders is possible, yet at the same time millions more are struggling with the disease of addiction. Substance use disorders affect all communities nationwide, but with commitment and support, people with these disorders can achieve healthy lifestyles and lead rewarding lives in recovery. By seeking help, people who experience substance use disorders can embark on a new path toward improved health and overall wellness. The focus of National Recovery Month this September is to celebrate their journey. Recovery Month spreads the message that prevention works, treatment is effective, and people recover. And the term substance use disorder, commonly known as addiction, is a disease of the brain, and many misconceptions surrounding it have contributed to harmful stigmas that can prevent individuals from seeking the treatment they need. By treating substance use disorders as seriously as other medical conditions with an emphasis on prevention and treatment, people can recover. And the impact of substance use disorders is apparent in our local community. An estimated 85% of our county prison population is made up of persons with charges related to drug and alcohol abuse. A leading reason children are abused and neglected in Warren County is due to their parents' substance use. Forest Warren Human Services has experienced a 149% increase in substance abuse referrals, going from 35 cases to 79 in the past year. There's an increase of 167%, that's 3 of 35 to 8 of 87, in children less than 1 year old experiencing withdrawal symptoms as a result of prenatal drug exposure over the past year. An increase in juveniles using drugs and alcohol being placed for treatment. A leading cause of unnatural death in Warren County is drunk driving related deaths caused by substance abuse. Of the 153 persons arrested for DUI in 2016, 69% had serious problems with substance use prior to their arrest for DUI. And the Recovery Month observance continues to work to improve the lives of those affected by substance use disorders by raising awareness of this disease and educating communities about prevention, treatment, and recovery resources that are available. For the above reasons, we, the Warren County Board of Commissioners, ask the citizens of Warren County to join us in celebrating and promoting this September as National Recovery Month. Now, therefore, we, the Warren County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of September as National Recovery Month in Warren County, Pennsylvania, adopted this 23rd day of August 2017.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
The motion is on the acceptance of the proclamation for September being National Recovery Month. Any further discussion?
So as I stated previously, the reason that I brought this proclamation to the table is that I was asked to speak in Harrisburg on September 6th at their Recovery Day kickoff. Part of the reason that I was asked was because the newspaper was nice enough to do a very nice article on Forsworn Human Services and the ride-alongs that we did with the children and youth, intellectual disabilities, drug and alcohol, and the whole agency. As a part of that article, I ended up telling Stacy that I myself am actually a recovering alcoholic. And I have, in September, I'll be celebrating 13 years of continuous sobriety. And so they printed that in the paper. The PR person in Harrisburg saw it and then asked me to come down and speak. I share this, this isn't something that you technically advertise during a campaign. But it's something that after I talked to Stacy about it, and she posted in the paper, and then the conversations that I have, generally on an annual basis, I'll make some comment on Facebook about my sobriety date. But I think it's important for people that are in recovery, that are part of the recovery community, that are kind of neck deep in the issues within the county related to this. Especially if they've had a successful recovery and that they've seen a positive outcome of making different life choices, that they share that with the community as much as possible and try to smash the stigma related to drug and alcohol and the issues that we have. One of the real concerns that I have in this community is that to some degree drugs and alcohol can be very highly stigmatized, so it's very hard for people to come forward and admit that they have an issue. And I think that the more of a conversation we have, the more that we share it with each other and with the community, the more comfortable people get talking about it, like it isn't this terrible, horrible thing and there's no solution. The more people that are going to make that choice to take a different path and lead a life in recovery and leave a fuller and better life and more productive one. So that's why I'm supporting this proclamation. That's why I brought it to the table, and I have a lot of passion for it, and there's a personal reason why. That's all I have.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is approval of the Children and Youth budget portion of the needs-based budget. Could I please have Mary Kushner, the director, give a brief update on what the request is?
Thank you. This is for the 17-18 fiscal years. We have to do our plan in 3 years. We do implementation, and then we have the needs-based portion. We're currently in the actual, what our certified number is for this year, and it's a state way of doing business. Unfortunately, when you're looking at that number, it's over $1 million for children and youth coming up. And the reason that is as you know, being active in CCAP, there's a lot of mandates that come down to the county that aren't 100% state or federally funded and require county match. And some of those initiatives that will affect this, currently we have the Child Advocacy Center that will be hopefully opening soon. As we will not be doing the interviews internally, we will be paying for those. So we're estimating an increase in our cost to be going to the Child Advocacy Center. These interviews will be, we're hoping to stay within, we're projecting about $35,000 to $40,000 increase for those interviews. Also with the there's 2 new educational laws that affect us. The one is the transportation. It used to be if a child was placed in a foster home or went to live with a different parent, they would be transported to their home school, and that was a cost to the school district. With this new law, it's a shared cost. So any of that with a child that's been placed by us or juvenile probation, we have to assume part of that cost also. So we're hoping it will keep it under, but we're looking at about another $20,000 that we could be paying to transport kids. The other educational law is the new truancy law, and it's actually Act 138 of 2016 that was enacted by legislation, which is an educational law that affects children and youth. And basically they have a new system for when kids are missing school, they'll identify them earlier, but we need to step in earlier too, as in children and youth. that we need to go in. We've been working with families, but we may need to put in a service like multi-systemic therapy or family-based, but whatever we can do to get that child. If not, if we cannot get that child into school, then they're suggesting that we place the child, which goes against everything that we stand for in children and youth, to keep the child in the home school, but looking to place the child thinking, and they will go to school because the placement facilities provide education. But, so we're looking at that will be an increase to us also.
Mary, I have a question. As it relates to the truancy law, I mean, how much of that is set in stone? Like, how much gray area is there in that law as far as your ability to prognosticate on?
Well, it's going to hope the law is established to keep the parents out of the court system from going to the MDJs.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's basically the flow chart of it. And
so, I mean, my point is like how long will it be until you know definitively what the stats, what effect it could have on the stats? I mean,
probably not until at least mid-school year,
mm-hmm.
so that we can see how many kids they're going to identify. And it's not. It used to be our the Warren County School District. It would be truancy would be from kindergarten. Like you could get your third illegal absence in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Now it starts a new school year, so we're hoping that we won't have as many truancy cases.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with this clean slate every year, every school year.
So even though, like, long term, there would be fewer truancy cases per se,
we're hoping.
You're hoping that's due to a burden being moved to the county in order to prevent those truancies.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's again, we have no say over education. They just put it into our system. And then the other, the state has also increased rates for our children's youth providers. And as you've heard over and over, a couple months that we've been doing when we meet with you on children youth issues, that some of the providers haven't had a rate increase in 5 years. So the state has approved some of the rate increases. Well, when that rate goes up, the county match portion goes up too. And there is no reimbursement for secure from the feds for the secure residential. So some of the sex offenders are not, that's not federally reimbursable, so that's an additional county match. And then, some of our kids, if they get placed at the age of 14, they could be in placement until they're 18 or 21, so that's an ongoing cost to the county. Again, it's systems that we have no control over. Kids get placed by the court, children can pay for them through juvenile probation. We also have seen an increase, as you said, in the recovery proclamation with youth, the teenagers needing drug and alcohol treatment. So we're seeing an increase with those. And sometimes they end up in the delinquency system. And so from the delinquency system, they're placed, and we place them in a dually, someone who's going to be able to provide drug and alcohol services for them. So that comes back, like an Abraxas provides drug and alcohol. So again, we have that county match for those facilities if the child goes in through juvenile probation. We hope to avoid that by getting them in through into treatment by having them going to outpatient or going to through managed care paying for it. So that way we wouldn't have to pay through county dollars for that.
The increase in youth being identified for treatment, is there anything that you feel, like as far as early warning systems, early detection, or any kind of change in policy that would have initiated that, or is it just a natural increase, like they're just seeing more kids?
I think they're identifying, the schools identifying kids more with they're doing the suicide prevention, so they're identifying kids with behavioral health issues. Many of the kids with behavioral health issues are self-medicating.
Yeah, because I mean, to some degree, that's a good thing because they would be unchecked otherwise.
Correct. And then student assistance, we have a student assistance program that's going into schools. They're starting to identify. And I think the more that, as you said, with the community speaking about it, there's more of identification of youth. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping to stop it while they're young and
Which is a savings to us over the long term.
And then we're also looking at that with the Systems of Care grant, looking to do more educational things with the trauma, helping kids deal with, what can they do differently than turning to drugs and alcohol. And then your youth population that's at the jail, that 18 to 26-year-old, we're hoping to use some of that funding to put some social skills groups in there and coping skills. So we're trying to tackle it at different angles, but unfortunately it comes back to the county to provide the match for services.
Any other technical questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the needs-based budget for CYS.
Second. Motion is to accept needs-based budget for the total of $1,031,491. Any other discussion from the board? Any comments from the public? Very good. Then I will call the question. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Any citizens' comments or concerns? Mr. Abel.
Just a couple of things. First, a thank you. I was happy to see that there was a bike ride for me to park my bike at this morning. That was an issue that was brought up previously. I thank you for addressing that. I'm sure there are employees here who appreciate it as well. There were actually 2 bikes on the rack, so I'm not the only person using it. And by the way, if we're going to market Warren, which I think is a topic of discussion today at another meeting, the fact that it's very bikeable is an important factor for a lot of us who live here. It's also very pedestrian friendly. And that leads me to a second bike issue, which is the hike bike trail between Warren and Warren, which is a great resource really for this community. It not only provides a lot of recreation opportunities, but it's also used, I think, as a transportation corridor that might be underestimated, is how many people actually use that to walk or ride their bike to work and back. I noticed previously that some maintenance was being done on the hike bike trail. This was my first day to actually observe what was done. It looked like some brush had been cleared. I'm wondering if that had been discussed in a previous meeting or who actually initiated that work.
Yes. So we partner with Conowongo Township in order to do like the heavy clearing of brush. We also use inmate labor. They go as a part of public service in order to do clearing of brush along there. The path is actually mowed by like Retired Teachers Association, I believe, through I can't remember his name. I've known the guy forever. Pat Crommiller and a couple other volunteers actually do the mowing on the trail. So somewhere, due to the rain and everything else, and there was some miscommunication with Conowongo Township. We initiated a formal agreement finally with them in order to have that done on a regular basis. So any recommendations or insight you have into that would be welcome.
On the one hand, I'm very happy that it's being maintained. I'm not sure what the objectives were of the brushing that was done. Maybe some daylighting. There's definitely a lot more daylight on the trail.
Well, one of the problems is the actual mowing. So when the bushes and everything overgrow, it's really hard for the volunteers to mow without getting hit by them. So technically speaking, they're supposed to go along and basically trim that all up and clean it out so that when they're mowing along the edge, there's a couple of feet, give.
And I know there are some competing probably objectives here. I know that when the brush is very close to the trail, security could be an issue. I'm happy to see that on one hand that's addressed. On the other hand, I think some of the brushing might have been a little bit aggressive. It's right next to Conowongo Creek. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who are involved in watershed management spend a lot of time trying to maintain buffers to make sure that we have enough vegetation near the creek side to prevent erosion occurring. If we overcut immediately next to the stream bank, we can actually lose ground and could actually threaten the hike bike trail if we're not careful. So
Okay.
I think it would be a good idea maybe to get
Mhm.
Conservation District or someone with some watershed management expertise to provide some consultation with regard to the next time that that's questioned out.
Maybe we even, come up with some policy for it or something. It's one of those things where I don't know that there's ever been a formal decree as to how it's supposed to be set up. Basically, what happens is we'll get complaints from people who say the brush is too, because it wasn't just the people mowing the lawn, it was also people that walk the trail, and they would call and say, the brush is too big, you need to cut it back. So then we cut it back, so then people come in, you cut it back too much. So we got to find a middle ground where both of those concerns are taken care of. But I appreciate you saying that. I'll go and check the path out myself and then give Conservation District a call, because I think that's actually a good idea to talk to them about it. Because basically what'll happen is we'll have a conversation with maintenance and our inmates in the prison about, okay, this is how they're supposed to do it when they do it, and then also have a conversation with Conowongo Township, because I think the way Conowongo does is they just have a machine that goes through and chops everything up. So between those two, we would. What's that?
Well, that was the other thing. It was kind of a slash and dash.
Okay.
There's still a lot of brush there. I wasn't sure if that was going to be removed. Also, I would consult with maybe Conservation District to see if it's a good idea to remove all the brush, because there could be some advantages to leaving the brush in place. But I leave that to somebody with a little bit more expertise.
Just as someone who walks on the trail occasionally, not as much as I'd like, I do like a little brush. I like there to be brush on the trail. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on. I mean, no, I take your concern seriously. I'm just stating a preference. I made it in a joking fashion.
I think overall, my perspective is that it's a positive move. I like to see maintenance of the hike bike trail. I just think we might need to refine the process, as you're suggesting.
Yeah, one of the other things that we're looking at, just to make you aware of, is we're going to be putting more benches along the trail in order for people to be able to sit. And right now there's only a handful along the trail, and we had a lot of different people talking about wanting benches there to sit. And we have somebody who's going for their Eagle Scout badge, working on it, and they should be installing them within the next month or so. So that's something that maybe we'll talk about the Conservation District too. They may have preferences as far as where they're placed. I mean, I don't know.
I'm also happy to hear that Conowongo Township is participating in that. One of the things that we might want to look at in the future has to do with some of the street crossings for the hike bike trail, which are kind of unregulated in terms of the street traffic. But I'll leave that for another time. And lastly, if I could just ask questions about attendance here at this meeting. There are some citizens here today, but I'm wondering if you as commissioners feel that there are things that could be done to improve attendance, to get more citizen involvement. I don't know the history of scheduling the meetings. I know that, for example, Conowongo Township tends to schedule an early meeting and then a later meeting during the month to try to catch people who have work schedules or family schedules that don't allow them to attend. I'm wondering if that's been considered in the past.
Well, in the past, it was always done in the morning up until our term. And then we felt like we would get more attendance by doing a noon meeting at lunchtime and make it like a lunchtime thing. And so work sessions and the meetings are at noon. Pam might be able to answer this better than me, but it seems like attendance generally has been very good. Like to our
They
meetings.
used to have a meeting in the mornings at 9 o'clock, and the second meeting of the month was held in the evenings. They used to hop around to the different municipalities, still with no attendance. Yes. So they dropped it back to still having an evening meeting, but having it here at the courthouse. And a lot of times, besides the three commissioners, myself, and Mary, and the newspaper, there would be nobody here. So they went to just having them during the day because they've tried everything and nobody, unless they have an issue, they don't come.
Which could be a good sign.
Well,
In reality, we have better attendance now than we've had.
Yes.
And then you also have more media, because you have it
Oh, yeah.
on the webpage, you have the minutes posted, you have pages on
Yeah.
They might get 2 articles.
yeah, I don't know about changing the time. I mean, we will have that conversation at the beginning of the year. I think that your question about what can we do to encourage attendance at the meetings or figure out ways to engage the public better, I think is a very good one. I mean, that's something that we definitely want to have a conversation about.
And I know your email is busy place, so I know a lot of citizens are communicating with you that way. I'm wondering, do we have any statistics on how many people download videos or stream?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, when we started out, there were quite a few, and now it's tapered off. So I'd say, like, each of these videos gets viewed maybe 20 times. I mean, it's hard to say. And basically, I know who about 10 of those people are because they tell me about it. When if the video's not up on time or there's something kind of goofy, then somebody messages me about it. But I don't know. I kind of look at it as a net for the year, eventually. I mean, my thing is with it is number one, it's a public record. So at any time, somebody can go and look on the YouTube page. We're starting to put all of the agendas in the videos so that, you can sift through and see what each video entails as far as like what we're going to be discussing during the course of the meeting. And I think that, as we continue to expand, I mean, there are meetings that were had by previous boards that I would love to be able to pull up and then watch, because we'll be sitting here having, why did we make
Right.
this decision? Why was this done? And if I could search through the YouTube channel and then bring a video up and just watch what the discussion was, I think it would solve a lot of like little problems that we have that have been, built up over time.
It's like one of
I
our...
don't know if we have the technology for this, but has it ever been considered to Skype or to stream?
Actually, we just installed that. We are going to be capable of doing that. We are capable of doing that now. I'm not sure we're going to do it, but yeah, we just installed that with part of the new phone system that we upgraded to.
It was discussed having like a live stream of the meeting. My concern with that is that it would encourage negative behavior to some degree. I think that having them recorded and available to the public is a good record. I think that having people believe that they could use this as a forum in order to conduct their own business, or do something really negative, and have it documented, I think is a bit of a concern of mine.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Any other citizen comments, questions? Very good, Commissioner.
Make a motion to close the meeting.
Second that. The next meeting would be September 13th, I believe, noon here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. All those in favor of adjourning? Aye. Meeting's adjourned at 12:39. Thank you.